What's up everybody, BigSweetC here with you. Got a special little video for you. Today we're talking Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Now, while it's not a new game, it's been out for about a year, came out in November of 2020, it is the newest Assassin's Creed game out there. I know it's been out for a little while, but I'm just now getting a chance to play it. I've been playing it for about a week now or so on the old PS5. And before I get any PC Master Race goons out there, like I said before, I'm just a console guy. I like consoles. I like having the controller in my hand. Sue me. Either way, I did want to talk about this game because I've been enjoying the bejesus out of it. I'm probably 40 hours into the game, even though I'm not quite that far. Maybe, I mean, I don't really know how far I am in the main story because I've never played it before and I haven't bothered to look around. But I have been doing a lot of the side stuff as well. Now, this one actually seems kind of the most fleshed out of the open world ones. So we'll start with Assassin's Creed Origins, the Egyptian one. That was really the beginning of kind of the open world Assassin's Creed. Then you had Odyssey. This one almost feels like a direct sequel to Odyssey, although there are more references that I've come across to Origins than I have Odyssey, so to speak, if that makes any sense. In terms of gameplay, it's a pretty fleshed out version of it. It looks amazing. It runs really well. Being an Assassin's Creed game where you have one button doing multiple things, it's still kind of got that glitchy factor. But in terms of overall gameplay, I actually really enjoy it, and I think it's very, very good. One of the best that I've played recently. Now, I never got to finish Odyssey. I did finish Origins. The biggest similarity, in my opinion, is kind of the story, how it feels like it's playing out. Again, I haven't finished Valhalla. I haven't finished Odyssey yet. But, like, the story kind of takes you through this story character arc where it kind of feels like it's going to be revealed that your actual dad is like the god of the world, so to speak. In Odyssey, it was Poseidon because it was like a sea voyage in the Romans, in Rome. Sorry. This one, it feels more like Odin because you're a Viking. Now, that aspect of it makes me like this one a little bit more than Odyssey, because if you can imagine Skyrim with the ability to kind of go everywhere and do assassin kills and stuff like that, because you can mountain climb and all this stuff, it's basically Skyrim with mountain climbing and sweet sneak assassinations. If for some reason you could have that in Skyrim, Skyrim would probably still be the better game, but the complete free roaming aspect of this game has been super fun, and the story's been pretty good. You're essentially a second sidekick to who would be king of your little Viking clan. However, he's always kind of out on his own mission type of stuff, and so you're kind of left there to kind of lead this clan. And I haven't really gotten into, like the main, like all of the story yet, but there is this kind of cool kind of interactions where you're like prophetized to betray a lot of your friends, and then they start questioning your motives. They don't think you're right to rule, or they think that you're like pretending to rule and taking all of the true king's glory and whatnot, which I thought kind of added a pretty cool feature. Whereas, like, yeah, in Odyssey you get to choose between like the Romans and the Athens, or the Greeks and the Athens. I'm not sure exactly which one it is right now off the top of my head, but you get to choose between one of those two. It doesn't really seem like a power dynamic, in my opinion. It's more of a way to kind of create replay value, whereas this one gives you more of that power dynamic style, because you have the people that are following you start to question your motives, and start to kind of force you to play differently than you probably would, because you want to keep them on your side, and I thought that was a pretty cool aspect of the game. And then, you know, again, in terms of just overall fun to play the game, I've always been a big fan of the Assassin's Creed games. I love being able to like sneak up on people and like pull them down and stab them in the heart, you know, or like jump on, you know, jump down from these giant ledges and like get that kind of feeling in your stomach that you're riding a roller coaster down a steep hill. So it adds all that, and it continues the, you know, the kind of the other kind of power dynamic where it doesn't explicitly say that you've joined the Creed, so to speak. I mean, they make mention of the Creed here and there, but they're really called the Hidden Ones in this one. And then you have the other order, you know, the Order of the Ancients that the Creed has been battling against for years. And much like Odyssey and Origins, where you have those specific fighters, they have that in this too. They're called it's called the Order, and you can find them on the map. They're walking around randomly. They're higher level enemies that have, you know, a tendency to be a little bit tougher than like your base enemy games. As you kill them, you reveal new members of the Order. Now the cool thing that I like about this game is that seems more important. Whereas like in Origins and Odyssey, it kind of seems like a side step, a side quest, if you will. You could go ahead and you can fight all of them if you want, but like if I remember correctly, I think Origins you really only have to maybe fight 4 or 5 of them. Odyssey, I don't remember fighting very many of them, unless I like happen to come up on them, and then if they would beat me, I would just have to keep fighting them because, you know, my pride gets in the way. But in this one, they actually feel more involved in the story, and I actually appreciate that a lot more because it makes it worth fighting these guys. Whereas I don't think it was as rewarding, if you will, in the previous two. And again, the whole Odin story. Some of my favorite mythology is actually Viking mythology. So you follow as Odin. You even go into Valhalla and you play as Odin, even though it's yourself. You know, everything that you say and talk about, you're actually representing Odin in these crazy visions that you have from the seer female Valka in this one. And it kind of adds like a little bit more mystery behind the story, which I think is kind of cool. Whereas like Odyssey was, you were on a quest to find out who your dad was because you thought it was this Spartan forever, and turns out it probably wasn't. It was somebody else. And I'm assuming my deductive investigative mind kind of assumes that you find out that Poseidon is really your father, and like I kind of feel like it's kind of leaning towards that in this one, but because you actually get to play as Odin in a couple of missions, kind of fleshes out the story that there's more to it than what you're told. And I think that's pretty cool. Actually, there's also this jump in Asgard that is just mind-blowingly awesome. You like jump down from the High One's chair in Asgard, and I mean you fall forever, and it's one of the coolest scenes. One of the coolest little things I've seen in any of the Assassin's Creed games. You can play as Eivor, however you pronounce their name. You know, like the previous two, you get to choose between a female or a male. Now the cool thing about it is, in this one, in your development, you can actually pick and choose, or you can let the game choose for you. So that's pretty interesting if you want to kind of give yourself a little bit of a challenge. Now, picking female, male hasn't seemed to be, because I played a little bit as both. Picking one of the other sexes doesn't seem to really have any change in story as of yet. But letting the game pick your development abilities seems like a pretty interesting way to kind of add like a little, almost like a built-in mod, if you will. And it seems like a pretty interesting concept. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the ships. So in the previous one, Odyssey, ships are obviously a huge deal because that's how you like travel, right? You're going from island to island to island to island. And like in this one, you kind of have that a little bit. There, you know, every area seems to be separated by a river or you know, like a small lake or a sea type of thing. But the shipping itself, the actual use of the ship, seems more for really only one of two things, because you don't really fight on the ship at all. It looks like it's kind of a faster way to travel around the map. And then you can do these things called raids, where you can actually go into these monasteries and these military bases from off of sea, and you bring your crew in with you, and you steal resources and everything, and then you use those resources to kind of build your hometown of Ravensthor. And I thought that was actually a pretty awesome additional feature in this one that kind of separated itself from the previous two open world games, whereas like Origins, you really just kind of go wherever you want, do whatever you want, and like doesn't really seem to have any great importance. They kind of, you know, amp that up a little bit in Odyssey, where like you take over a certain territory for one group or the other group. Well, in this one, you're like fighting for yourself, essentially. You basically, you get to build your home, Ravensthorpe, and the more raiding you do, the bigger your home can get, and you know, it classifies itself in renown. And the more renown you have, the more cool, like better Vikings you can like recruit for your crew and everything. And it actually kind of, you know, again, just little additions like that have made this game's extra stuff. Like I said, I've played probably 40 hours, but I doubt I'm even halfway through the main story. And like, I haven't felt bored at all. Whereas like with a lot of the previous ones, Origins especially, you know, I was asking the question, is this game just too big? Like, I'm sitting around here, I'm doing all this traveling and everything, and it doesn't feel rewarding. Whereas like with this one, it does. Wherever I go, whatever I do, seems to have some sort of reward or progression from my character, or some sort of like status from my character in game, and so people like recognize you more and whatnot. It's a very, very unique thing to this one specifically. You know, basically just talking about the three open world ones, because before that there really wasn't a whole lot of extra stuff. You know, you could kill people, you could find out stuff, and I think you can like maybe hoard treasure or something. Like, it's very limited up until you get to Origins. And they kind of keep expanding this open world idea, and they just kind of make these finer tweaks. And I'm talking about Ubisoft, the developers of the game. They just kind of keep making these little tweaks here and there, and I think they've got it pretty much perfected in terms of what I've enjoyed so far from the game itself. It's been super fun, and I look forward to playing a lot of it. I am trying to play it over on Twitch, and I know I still have 4 more Final Fantasy Pixel remaster games to get through as well. But I'm glad I started playing this one, because it has been super fun, and it's given me something to play other than like Call of Duty and Destiny, to my wife and my brother's detriment. But you know, I need to take a break from those games from time to time, and this has been a fantastic way to kind of get away from that for a little bit, and I'm looking forward to finishing it up. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I know I haven't completed it, but again, 40 hours I think is pretty adequate time to decide whether you're gonna enjoy the game or not, because the 40 hours has not felt like 40 hours. When I looked at the amount of time that I've spent in this game, it was like my mind was blown. I had no idea that I've been playing it that much. And that's a good thing. That's a very good thing, because the last thing you want to do is like make it feel like a grind, and this doesn't feel like a grind at all. So I'm going to give it the old sweetness 2 thumbs up. This is probably still not my favorite. I really like 3, mainly because of the time period that it takes place in, the old Revolutionary War. But I'm gonna give this one 2 thumbs up. This is easily probably in one of my top 5, maybe top 2 or 3, in terms of how much I've enjoyed it so far. So I definitely recommend checking it out. I believe the Ubisoft games are on sale right now, at least on Xbox. I'm not sure if they are on PS5 or on PlayStation or on PC. But if you happen to have an Xbox, I do believe they're on sale for about another 2 or 3 days. So if you've been looking at a chance to pick this up, don't waste any more time and do yourself a favor and grab this one, because I've enjoyed it quite a bit. So that's going to do it for this one. BigSweetC, that's me, wishing YouTube, that's you. Wonderful day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it might be. If you're enjoying what you're seeing, please do me that favor. Hit that like, hit that sub, hit that notification bell. If you are enjoying this and you want more, head on over to Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch. Follow me over there as well, at BigSweetC. Either way, that's going to do it for this one. Sweetness, signing off. Peace.